Greetings, Dr. Joseph Martin. The Akashic Records, the Book of Life Introduction. So this is going to be one of perhaps or hopefully several on the Akashic Records and what they are. The Akashic Records, first of all, let's just look at the word Akasha. Akasha means ether. It's the original element that pervades all of the known universe, all of creation. And so it means space, but it is a non-material substance, ether, that can hold and can give and receive vibrational realities that hold knowledge. Just as anything material in the universe can hold knowledge, whether it's yourself, your consciousness, your brain, crystals, and so on. The Akashic Records are a collective consciousness. They are a vibrational registry, if you like, of all things that have happened. And in the Gospel of Luke, in chapter 10, verse 20, it says, "Rejoice that your names are written down in heaven." And this is the suggestion that there is such a thing called the Book of Life. We know that the ancient peoples in the Middle East and in the Semitic regions, the Phoenicians, the Egyptians, the Arab peoples, and also, of course, the Hebrews, knew and taught that there is a book of life in which every soul's name is written down, and it's there for eternity. And it is a record of every thought and every intent and every feeling, every emotion, every activity, and every action that you've engaged upon as a soul, not only here on planet Earth in a human body and in several millions of human bodies, as the Buddha would say. We've all had millions of human births and lives here in the physical form. It's also a record of all the experiences, adventures, and thoughts and feelings that you may have in the between world stages, in the astral plane or the afterlife stage when you leave a physical life here, or before you come back for reincarnation as a baby again. In that astral etheric plane, all of your intentions, your contracts, if you like, with Source or Spirit, your goals, your desires, your karmas, your tikkun, as we often say in Kabbalah, which would be your correction and why you choose to happily come back in order to grow and evolve and have greater loving adventures and peaceful adventures as a soul, in order to realize that you are one with the Christ consciousness of the infinite creation of the universe. So the Akashic Records are open to everybody, anyone who has, as Alice Bailey says, a deeply spiritual discipline, and as Rudolf Steiner, the founder of Anthroposophy, has suggested, a pure heart. All of the Akashic Records, including your own, particularly your own, are open to be looked at so that you can understand what your soul is doing as she is evolving. Every soul is feminine in respect to the Father or the Creator, if you like, which is masculine. And these are non-gendered, non-human terms. They're just to do with energies of the spirit and the cosmos. Now, the Egyptians felt that the Akashic Records were written down and able to be accessed through the various stars in the belt of Orion, in particular Sirius A, Sirius B, and Sirius C stars. We also know that the ancient Hebrews spent a lot of time accessing this and spoke of it. And many of their prophets, including Jeremiah, Daniel, Isaiah, and others, the major and minor prophets, including those in the Apocrypha, also accessed the Akashic Records in order to understand the history and the collective consciousness of their own people and the other peoples who were living by them in the Tigris-Euphrates River area, rivers back then in those times, going back 5,000 to 6,000 years. In the Vedas in India now, if we move over to the Hindu tradition, in the Vedas, the Upanishads, and Patanjali himself, who wrote the Yoga Sutras, all these great rishis and these really wise ones were able to access the Akashic records in order to understand not only the development and evolution of a particular soul, but also the whole direction and collective history, past, present, and future of, say, the country or the Hindu people, the country of India. And of course, we know that India is the most ancient and long-standing and only still existing culture on the planet. All the others have come and gone, and that includes Rome and Greece and ancient China and Japan and all the South American places, including Lemuria and Atlantis and all the others as well. So all of the sacred, spiritual, disciplined people of the world, the prophets of all the different traditions, including, of course, Moses and Jesus and Mohammed, peace be upon him, bless his holy name, and Guru Nanak, the founder of the Sikh tradition, and the founders of the Jain tradition, and Zoroaster, one of the most ancient of the spiritual traditions on our planet, and of course Kwan Yin, Rabia, and many, many more, Lao Tzu, and to some degree Confucius. They all were able to access the Akashic records and bring forth the divine, simple truths of love, simplicity, freedom, joy, and peace. The ancient unified sacred teachings of the spiritual unity of the conscious cosmos. There were many others and have been over the time. Of course, the First Nations, a lot of the indigenous medicine people, women and men, were able to prophesy or have visions by going into the Akashic records and coming up with the very needed dreams and visions for individuals, for personal healing, and also for the entire culture, again, to understand the past ancestors and what the ancestors were saying, but also the present time and the future in order for the culture to survive. And of course, many great prophets like Dagon Ueda and many of the Hopi and the Zuni and others around the world, the First Nations, indigenous peoples, have accessed the Akashic records in order to give hope and direction for future generations in terms of what's needed in order to stay alive and be in charge of their own culture, but also to have a direct righteousness and understanding and wisdom in right livelihood, or dharma as we call it, with all our relations, mitakuyo yasin. In modern times, many scientists, as well as mystics, of course, from the Western world and the Eastern world and the tribal world, have accessed the Akashic records in order to understand the universal truths. Such people would be obviously Isaac Newton, the founder of modern science and mathematics and physics, who himself was a deep mystic, and he read the Akashic records and wrote about it. We have all his diaries and journals now in which he predicted the future. And this is coming from a few centuries ago. And he said there would be great changes in the 21st century, and he actually predicted dates, all based on the Old Testament and the book of Daniel. We have, of course, the famous Nostradamus, who was a medical doctor who was living in France, and many of his predictions, and many people around the world look at that. The great physicist Albert Einstein was able to access the Akashic records, and his general theory of relativity and his specific, more advanced theory of relativity and quantum mechanics is all built on his access of the Akashic records and the astral dimension of the fourth and fifth and higher dimensions. And it was his capacity to accessed this intuitively that allowed him as a scientist to write it up in terms that other physicists and mathematicians and astrophysicists would understand. And of course, it is the basis of not only all astronomy, but physics today on planet Earth. So many other scientists, Kayce and others as well, have come up with their scientific theories based on their access and reading of the Akashic Records. Now, other psychologists and spiritual scientists, such as Edgar Cayce, of course, all of his personal healings that he did with so many thousands of people, all written down, all recorded, it was all done by reading the soul imprints in the Akashic Records. So thanks to Edgar Cayce, so many people got healed. And also, as I've mentioned, Alice Bailey, Madame Blavatsky, and Dr. Rudolf Steiner accessed the Akashic Records in order to bring healing to people individually and knowledge and wisdom of the spiritual science of the unity of all that is in the universe, in creation. I know many psychologists, social workers, psychotherapists are increasingly using the Akashic Records as they're capable by purification of themselves in the emotional karmic healing and clearing of individual souls. And this is an important part of what we could call spiritual psychology, spiritual psychotherapy. Rebirthing, and there is a video we've done on this, is one of the techniques whereby you as an individual in a natural harmonic and breathing cycle can go in, access your Akashic Records, and evolve your soul by forgiving yourself and loving yourself. The key to all healing is self-forgiveness, forgiveness of others, loving yourself in the deepest possible way, and then moving forward in your soul evolution and creating new imprints in the book of life for your future lives in and out of the body, meaning after this life and your next lives to come. There are many other things we can say about the Akashic Records and what they mean and how to use them, their structure and their function, and they are collective, energized holdings or registrations, if you like. They're called energy fields of morphic resonance. This morphic resonance is a term that's been brought by physicists to present-day knowledge, and that itself suggests that anyone can access these. It's important, though, for us who are listening to this to remember that the key is to realize that you are an eternal, immortal soul. That's the first thing, and you will always be around somewhere in the universe, in a place of deep love and deep peace, in the source of all that is, and there only is the one light, the one source, and you are it, and you are in it at all times. Whether you're conscious of it or not, this is simply the truth. And so, that being the case, have an adventure, create a journey for yourself, whereby in all trust and all belief and all faith, that you move forward and have a great journey, have a great experience, have a great adventure with joy and with trust. Just move forward with great hope and courage, and realize that every thought you have, every intent you have matters, because it is registered somewhere in the universe. Every kind thought and feeling and emotion, every kind action that you have with yourself and another human being or other animals or the planet herself, all this is part of something that can be a vibration of healing and creation as you put it out and experience and express it creatively in your life and in the world. This morphic resonance can be a great healing for all of ourselves here on the planet as we are experiencing the great turning point, as we're moving forward with great joy and appreciation and deep gratitude and blessings in experiencing all that we can at this time. Well, that's it for now. There will be other things we can say on the Akashic Records and the Book of Life. Just know that your name is in it, that you matter, you are a unique, original, loved, and loving soul. Your greatest essence is love and freedom and truth and joy. So live with that sense of blessing and gratitude. Open up to the blessings in your heart and use your intuition and just find the next stage or stages for yourself and live in joy and peace at this time with great courage and hope. You can change all your beliefs and make them into the most positive, open, grateful, blessed beliefs as you learn to know more and more about yourself. Dr. Joseph Martin here for you. Om Namah Shivaya. All love and blessings to you now and always.